One of the things that I help my clients with is I guide them on how to make body-centered decisions. And I can speak about that in generalities for this time frame. However, when I work with people, because of the modality that I use the human design system, I can tell each person specifically where their authentic decisions come from. But in all cases, every little humanoid walking on this planet, their decisions, their authentic decision, their power, their essence, their uniqueness stems from how they make decisions about what they're giving their energy to, or what kind of environment feels right for them. And it all comes from somewhere below here. It doesn't come from here. And traditionally, we were taught in school to figure it out. Our parents wanted to figure it out. Getting the right answer is really important. Making the right decision because it's logical. So my authentic decision making, which is probably about 35% of the planet, comes from their gut. It's a gut response. So I can tell whether I have juice or power for something. If I'm responding to an outfit that I'm shopping for, the food I want to eat, or a social engagement. And because I've been practicing this for 14 years, I've established a system that really works for me, and that's what I help my clients establish. A way of taking what's happening in your outside world, whether it's professionally or personally, and the things that come up, like how do you choose? And when I first came across this in 1999, my first teacher told me, you want to get really masterful at making your authentic decisions, because as time speeds up, you don't want to be cleaning up messes. My heart aches when I hear people struggling to make a decision about something, but they're not asking me for my input, and so I'm not going to say anything. But I see people wonder and ponder and, well, should I or shouldn't I? And I have before, and all of that. And if they asked me, I could help them make that decision and every other decision going forward that's authentic from their body. So how that shows up in my life is that I don't really know what I'm going to do a lot of times until I know what I'm going to do. Because if I decide that's coming from my head, it's the opposite of what this innate wisdom that I trust that comes from my gut. I have a huge list I won't go into of things that I've done because it felt right and it just didn't make any sense. But because I've been doing this for so long, I know that it's going to be, that it's the right thing for me. One fallacy that people have about, oh, if I learn how to do that, then nothing bad is going to ever happen. But what it actually is that you get the right experiences that you're supposed to have. Because there is this wisdom that your body has. So for example, I can read an email and get a sense of whether I'm going to go to that event or not. And sometimes it's kind of vague, and I'm like, oh, well, that's weird. I really want to go. My mind's going, oh, I really want to go to that, but it doesn't feel right. And eventually, I'll remember that this is the only thing I can trust, that it has to have some power, it has to have some lift, it has to have some passion to it. So I'll pass up reluctantly I'll pass up the event. And then the day comes when that event was going to happen, and I get a phone call or something happens that is really much more satisfying for me, or it's a relationship I want to connect with. And had I just gone along with, well, I always go to that, then I would miss these connections. So in my life, it's proved itself over and over and over again that it's really valid and I can trust it. And I think that most people don't trust their decisions. And it's not a wonder. Because people make a decision on whether it makes sense or not. And I'm here to tell you that life doesn't always make sense. And if that's what you base your life on, like I'm going to have a good life because it makes sense, well, that's one way to live. But I do trust myself, and I do really find incredible value in imparting this for people, because I see people struggling making just everyday decisions, and they don't have to. They can just know. They can just trust. Yes, this is right for me. My friends might not understand, my family might not understand, but I know, I can trust that this is right for me. It's pretty radical. And very powerful.